Hello everyone, my name is Hexama, and thank you for watching my live gesture and figure drawing classes. You are watching a previously recorded video that was broadcasted live earlier this morning on Twitch. The format of this video is 6 poses, 10 minutes per pose, with an additional 10 minutes for the final pose of the day. The pose of the day serves as a template in which you should be posting that final pose on our Discord server for feedback. Twitch and Discord information are available on the About Us page on YouTube. Please welcome yourself to the Discord community and upload your drawings, in turn encouraging each other to become better artists. Once again, enjoy this live drawing session. Let's begin. Hello, good morning everybody. Thanks for joining in. Just turn down the audio there a bit. Once again, thanks for joining in on this first of the month, September 1st. We're going to do some life drawing and some anatomy study. As usual, 10-minute poses, 6 poses. We're not going to deviate too much yet. I will begin some hand and foot studies. I will release that information on Twitch and Eventbrite. So that'll be something new we're doing there. But other than that, if you're experiencing any technical issues, feel free to type in chat. Other than that, a lot of this is independent and self-study. And once again, I encourage you to grab the images and then superimpose your sketches on the images to see where you can improve in terms of proportion, which is something I struggle with, even though I've been doing this for close to a year. So that's one of the advantages of digital art. You can kind of just superimpose your sketch onto the image itself and see where you made some errors and do some self-correction and continuous improvement. For those of us who don't have the convenience of an art instructor to give us a third-person perspective. Anyways, let's finish this up and get started. Just keep an eye on the clock, and we're gonna go from pose to pose. No stress, take your time. The last session, I don't think I completed one single pose. So that's interesting. Hopefully I can do a little better today. I'll move the alarm clock around a bit here because it's blocking her foot, so I'll make adjustments as we go from pose to pose. Okay, have fun everybody. And thanks for coming out this morning, making the effort. That's half the work, as they say. Okay, did manage to get most of her in the pose. Let's move on to the next one. I will just adjust the clock here, keep an eye on the 10 minutes. 10 minutes does go fast, so if you don't want to get too detailed into it, I always recommend just trying to tackle a basic gesture pose. I'll start with the gesture pose here, and then I'll build upon it. So you don't have to go to the next step. You can kind of stay with the first step, getting the energy and the gesture. But other than that, if you try and get it in 10 minutes, I mean, that's the idea. You should be able to render everything within a few minutes. A good artist can. Get the energy of the pose, as they say, as you can see in the first one. Off to a good start this morning. So let's begin. Sorry, folks, I realized I didn't even start the clock, but I'm going to finish up this pose and then we'll continue as usual. I think we're going to go a little over for this pose. I think probably the 13-minute mark, but I'll let you know. Just keep going. And I'm going to try and finish it. It's kind of cheating because I'm not in 10 minutes, but we'll see what we can do. We'll continue. Sorry about that. Okay, folks, give yourself a couple of seconds. Let's wrap up there and move on to the next pose. We'll be a little more astute with the clock there. Sorry about that. Okay, that's the timer I was waiting for. Let's go on to the next pose. Had a good flow with that drawing. As you can probably tell, I'll go back to it. Oops, sorry about that. came out pretty well. I think I could have leaned him in a bit more. He's kind of standing straight, back up a bit. The energy leaning forward could have been accentuated a bit, and I was trying to do that. The first error I made was his legs were too short, so I did extend those out at the last minute. I would have probably adjusted the back a bit and that shoulder and brought him out a bit more. But other than that, it was coming pretty nicely. It was just a handful of lines. There was a minimalism to it. So yeah, quite happy with that pose, considering we only have 10 minutes. I feel I captured his essence. Okay, let's keep an eye on the clock and we'll start things back up here. Okay, definitely a difficult pose. Started off well with the upper torso, but connecting the bottom half to the top half seemed to be tricky. I feel I didn't get that muscular bulk around his thighs and the calves as I wanted, but I would have adjusted it as needed. At least I got most of the pose in, and I did pretty decent with the hand, so hopefully you guys didn't struggle too much with that pose. A lot of muscles helps actually with referencing. You can kind of connect them together, so that's always there. Let's move on to the fifth pose and keep an eye on the clock. Hopefully I started this time. Okay, that was a very difficult pose. I mean, a lot of stuff happening here. A lot of lines crossing each other, a lot of anatomy crossing each other, a lot of foreshortening, a lot of proportion dynamics. If you struggled with it, I'm in your camp. If you didn't, you're a pro. I was very much struggling with it. And once I started putting down too many lines, my old lines were confusing my new lines. So you always have to go back and erase it. And that's the luxury you have with digital. But if you're doing this on pen and paper, or pencil and paper, or whatever, yeah, have fun. Once you make a mistake, it kind of just changes, right? Once you put a wrong line down, your next lines are kind of, your old lines are you're using as a reference, right? So everything kind of goes off in proportion. It's kind of a domino effect. So you have to catch that before you start pulling more lines down and watch the angles and whatnot. It was coming together, but just very slowly, and I probably had some fixing to do, definitely with her head. Yeah, challenging pose. I think I'm gonna do one of these, like a 1 hour session, not just one of these, and just get my brain to really sweat and get in there and just do it. I think I'm gonna do that. I'll probably post something up. We're gonna do like a deep study on these really weird contorted poses. Enough of me talking. We are at the 6th pose. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Keep an eye on the clock. We are past an hour. We're well past an hour. Sorry, I'm including the 10-minute buffer before we start the thing. So we're actually at the hour mark. So we'll be about 15 minutes past the hour. But thanks for hanging in there with me. Let's do this 6th and final pose of the day, folks. Let's get started. Keep an eye on the clock. Okay, give you a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds here to finish up, folks. 1 second. Okay, just want to add a couple of things with this pose. A couple of things I struggled with, but I caught it quick. That was the arm coming over his side of his hip. And you'll notice his left leg to our right side is coming towards the camera a bit, so that has to be enlarged. So that was another tricky thing. I'm wondering if you caught that. So that was, originally I had made it too flimsy and thin, and I've had to go back and make it a little larger, but it looks like it's coming together. I have to bring it down a bit now that I'm looking at it. And I have to bring out the calf muscle for that left leg a bit more. So other than that, the right footing kind of came together pretty naturally. So I got lucky there. Like I said, if you struggle with the actual pose within the 10 minutes, you'll notice that the hands and the face, I've simplified them to shapes just so I can render it initially, and then I can go back and get details. So remember, that's a big thing, right? Like if you're really having a hard time wrapping your head around the anatomy of the person and their appendices, I think it is, like the fingers and the toes and all that, if I have the word right, to break it down into shapes and then go back and, you know, make it a little, get into the detail. You're going from big shapes to smaller shapes to smaller shapes to smaller shapes. And generally my style seems a little blocky, so there is that. But that's my own style that I'm kind of naturally developed. I'm not intentionally doing it. It's just I enjoy simple lines, so that's how it's coming together. But that's an hour, man. Thanks for hanging in there with me, and I will try and get some classes up next week. I hope you guys can join me. Getting up in the morning and doing these fresh exercises and learning anatomy and the basics of it. It'll make you a better artist. You know, my goal is to get into eventual animation, so this is the step of learning anatomy and movement and torque and pressure and all those good stuff. You know, join me on the journey, rising early every morning and forcing yourself to draw. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I will be posting the video up on Twitch and YouTube, and check out my schedule on the About Us page. I'm going to do some hand and foot studies. We're going to get involved in that this week, and I'll be updating everything on Eventbrite. So thanks for hanging in there with me, everybody. I'll see you next week. I won't be here for the weekend. Next class will be Monday morning, and maybe in the weekend evening I might do Monday evening I might do a nice long portrait painting session. Anyways, I'll keep that up on the schedule. Take care, everybody.